2, 1. Hello.
Hello everybody. Hello Mick.
Hello.
Welcome to the Cumpa space.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Awesome.
The reason why we have you here today on the couch is not only that you are our good friend and we hang out, but it's also because you have released your second book by now.
Yes.
What is the title of it?
I would like your fruitiest, funkiest, most fermented Canephora on the menu.
That sounds very fascinating. Very nice, very nice. Can you introduce yourself a little bit in general?
My name is Mick. I am the head of quality and roaster in Suedhang cafe over in Tübingen. And I'm also really big into Canephora, obviously. And I'm so very excited to talk about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
What has made you curious in the first place about Canephora?
Mr. Doi.
Yeah?
When I first tried the coffees you guys brought over, was like 2 years ago now, a year ago, two years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah. And I had a chance to roast it by myself and cup it and just experience it kind of also in my roasting style, and it absolutely blew my mind how complex and fruity and not bitter at all can a Robusta be. Yeah, it was that was the day I knew I want to start roasting it, start brewing it, start talking about it, and then that eventually turned into writing a popular text about it. And because there wasn't one, and I wanted one for people to have and read and to be inspired by my experiences and have the curiosity to experience it for themselves, you know. I think that's really cool.
Right. Yeah. And so since then, I imagine you have played with a variety of Robusta coffees. With Canephora coffees.
Yeah. So since we officially started roasting and selling Canephora in Suedhang, we've had coffees from Mr. Doi from Vietnam. We had coffees from a really cool cooperative in Indonesia called Sabtu who roast their coffee in a big pine forest. It's really cool. We also worked with Gio from Latitude Coffee that imports Canephora from Ecuador, from the Amazon there. And these were some crazy tropical coffees. And this season we got both Mr. Doi and Mr. Kwan from Tamba Coffee. And my mind just continues being expanded and it's a great learning experience and it's so nice to share it with people. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, very nice. Today we have two coffees that are actually from the producer that you mentioned, Mr. Toy. And so let's have a taste. Let's try them.
What are we starting with?
Maybe you pour those coffees.
When I have a wee sniff, go for it.
Very nice. Looks kind of like iced tea in the color.
Yeah, so it does.
So that is the Mr. Toy's washed that you're having over there, and I have the winey natural, also produced by Mr. Toy. Let's see what we taste here. And
Mr. Doi's farm has quite a particular name, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's called the Future Coffee Farms.
Exactly.
Which I absolutely love.
Yes.
That someone who's like the pioneer of Canephora and fine grade Canephora has a farm called the Future Coffee Farms. I think it just speaks for itself.
It is great. Also considering that in Vietnam, you know, I have lived there for 5 years, and if you see people growing coffee in the mountains, it's obviously removed from like the big cities and like, you know, the English speaking community a lot. Like there, you know, most people speak only Vietnamese. So it also struck me that there was this guy calling it the Future Coffee Farm, and he's this like Vietnamese producer producing really awesome
even before
coffee.
I tasted the coffee and I saw the description, I was like, oh, Mr. Doi, Future Coffee Farm. I was like, okay, this is gonna be ahead of the game. And so, this is lovely.
What are you tasting in the washed, Mr. Doi?
First off, plum, which I actually didn't expect because this is roasted a little different than I would usually roast it. And the first thing I have in my mouth is plum.
Yeah. Also, we brewed it quite light, so like short extraction time, lower temperature in water, and it gives out, I think, a lot of like quite bright acidity, which is not to expect from a Robusta or a Canephora in general.
Yeah, it's very, very plummy, chocolatey, very silky mouthfeel. Very nice long aftertaste of this like dried fruits, fig.
Yeah,
awesome.
Dried dates for me often roasted almonds. I often taste with washed coffee from Mr. Toy.
I always forget about almonds because I don't like almonds, so I never think of them when I get a cup of coffee.
Okay. Maybe you just keep them out of your. Yeah. Let's see the second one, the natural. It definitely it suits the name. It's very winey. Like the aroma. If you go first with the aroma, it is very winey. It's like wine gum.
I've never had so much pickled strawberry in a cup of coffee.
That's really great.
It's so lactic. It's so fermenty, but without the dirt of a natural. Like it remains kind of very defined. I like it.
So how do you go about roasting and brewing Canephora? I think the interview is very interesting, and mainly people are watching who are working in the industry.
Can I have some more?
Professional. Yeah, sure.
Sorry, thank you.
Who are probably roasting Robusta or Canephoras in general.
Yeah.
Maybe for the first time ever, or they haven't yet, and they're going to. How do you go about roasting and brewing Canephora? Is there anything different?
My approach with roasting any coffee really is to kind of do it justice, and I try to treat every coffee like a new learning experience. So I begin always with sample roasting and seeing what the coffee has in it and what can I showcase and what I want to showcase and what I want to highlight. And yeah, whether it's a Canephora or whether it's a high-grade Arabica, I roast them with exactly the same approach. And I need to cup it a lot and I need to sample roast it a lot, and then I see what kind of degree, what kind of temperatures, what kind of airflows suit that coffee and suit the aromas and the flavors. Yeah, I think that's there's some technical differences. Like I don't like to roast Canephoras too hot. I never really go above 196. With most Arabicas I go up to 200. Just to really decrease all that bitterness and highlight that acidity more.
Right.
Which is something that I think in specialty coffee is really desired. I like it with and without. I am an acidity enthusiast, to be fair, though. So I do like it to roast it a little colder and have the acidity more pronounced. Yeah.
And I remember something very interesting that you did with the competition coffee you had in Frankfurt. The Suedhang from Tamba. You told me you have been aging the coffee.
Yeah, this was correlated to brewing temperatures because I wasn't sure whether I can adjust brewing temperatures in the espresso machine. I like to brew Canephoras also with colder water, like 87 to 90 degrees is probably like a max for me. For a Canephora that's 2 to 3 weeks old after roast, right? But I had to work with 94, which is a little high for me, and I always had this little tartness and astringency when pulling the shots. So I decided to age it a lot. I aged 11 weeks. 11 weeks. And by the 8th week, in our tests, all the astringency was kind of gone.
Right, that's very
interesting. And the more I aged, the more I was able to push the extraction, and it only really started declining in quality after 20 weeks. And the last of my competition roast was served in unfiltered coffee in Dublin, and they served it as a pour over at I think 15 to 16 weeks old, and it was great.
Wow. Yeah. I think also something that's commonly described when tasting Canephoras is that there's a kind of popcorny flavor, roasty flavor to it that many people dislike, which to some degree I can still taste because it can be part of the like origin flavor or the taste of this varietal. But also I realized that it decreases dramatically when you age the coffee, and this is something I think you have to know when approaching Canephora. It
does decrease when you age the coffee, and it also decreases the more you taste the coffee. One funny story I always tell people when they tell me that they don't like the base flavor of Canephoras is to do an experiment and stop drinking Arabica for 2 weeks, just drink Canephora, and then go back and taste an Arabica and tell me it doesn't taste like a potato.
Okay.
It really, I did that, and every coffee, the first base note for me was like really veggie, potato stuff. and Canephora kind of became the new normal, which I think it can for anybody. And of course, you can decrease the base flavor notes of those roasty popcorn or malt. But I also kind of start to like it and desire it in my cup. Like I start to like the base flavors. So I think it's all about the context and how we approach the topic. And of course, it's not Arabica, but I think it's a great another thing.
In your book, I have learned a lot about brewing Canephoras as well, which you describe as well different as you would brew an Arabica, possibly. How do you go about brewing Canephoras?
I like to extend the bloom, again to highlight the acidity because I like acidity. So I usually start with if I'm brewing 200 milliliters, my first pour is probably 100 grams. And then I usually finish it with another pour and that's it. So very simple brewing method. But I think there's beauty in that simplicity because you kind of design the extraction to be as sweet and acidic as it can, and because Canephora extracts so fast, you're not ending up with a watery or a weak cup, like you're ending up with a wholesome cup still. So I think we can just learn to brew Canephoras better. I still haven't found the perfect way to brew it. I don't think I ever will, but this is kind of my starting point, is to bigger bloom, less pores, a little faster extractions, colder water. It's delish.
Right. I think everyone also will have to find their own sweet spot. How they love to extract their coffee to have more or less bitterness, more or less sweetness and acidity.
That's the beauty of not only Canephora but coffee in general, is the diversity within it. You know, what's good for me might not be good for you. And vice versa. But I think we can all find spots in it that we really like, and that includes Canephora.
Right. I'll be traveling to Vietnam next week, and I'm gonna spend 7 weeks there again for cumpa.
I'm so
jealous. Working on the farm with both Mr. Toy and also Tamba, also the Arabica producer Zanya Coffee, who we're working with the longest actually. I'm gonna be on the farm again, rubber boots, getting hands dirty in processing. I'm really looking forward to it. Is there anything that you would like me to carry onto the producer? Anything
thank you. Just say thank you, because the coffees I've tasted from them are fucking amazing, and it's like such a privilege to be able to taste such Canephoras here, because that this is, again, I don't think the norm. Like I don't think that's the popular quality. I think they're really pushing the boundaries of how far Canephora can go, and the Canephoras they've produced, they're some of the best I've tasted, and I try to taste a lot.
That means a lot. Like, for me, on their behalf as well, like I've been living for more than 5 years in Vietnam, and I know some of them since like 2-3 years, and have been working with them over there already. It means a lot. It means a lot to them. They are definitely very happy to hear that. I will tell them, and they're just very proud as well. To be represented here by roasteries, by us, and to see that like the mindset of many people is shifting, and we have more quality Canephoras on the market, and they believe, I believe, I'm sure you believe, that this will be some part of the future in specialty coffee.
I think it's a big part of the future. People are talking about like Stenophila being a more heat-resistant species and bringing that back into the coffee market. Like, but we already have this, and it's delicious, and I think it's a little easier. But
would you pour me a
absolutely. Sorry. And they deserved all the representation and appreciation they can get. Like, I think the days where Canephora goes untransparently into blends and commodity coffee is like slowly coming to an end. Because of this and of this work, and I have no words. Like it's crazy. It's great. I'm so happy to be able to taste and to be a part of it. Like for me, that's a dream come true.
Nice. Very nice. It's cool that we're sharing the same vision. I think it's time to learn more about Canephora. Please, everyone, check out the new book of my friend Mick. You can buy it online on the Suedhang website, I assume.
Yeah. You
You can find it there. You can find both of the lovely coffees that we've tasted today at the Cumpa website, and you can order samples. You can get the book and learn a lot more about Canephora, and be part of the future. Be part of a, I think, very exciting new time.
Future. Yeah, in and you might as well, if you're a roaster and you're watching this, like you might as well get ahead a little bit and gain some experience in this while very few people do it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, I think that's smart. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm.
Definitely. Cool. Vic, thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries.
It was a great pleasure.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And see you next time.
See you next time.
Cheers.